What's up everyone, and welcome to Video Game Book Club. It is that time of the month. It is time for the full review of Super Paper Mario. So let's go ahead and get into it. Over 6 years has passed since you first played Paper Mario on the Nintendo 64 in 2001. In that time, you've also made your way through the GameCube classic Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door in 2004. Now, it's time for Mario's next big adventure on the Wii with Super Paper Mario. In this iteration of the Paper Mario RPG series, we see the same stunning Paper Mario visuals we have come to expect, but this time around with a little bit more polish. A series of games that uses the paper look to such great effect continues that tradition here. Accent that with a little splash of a more pastel color palette, Super Paper Mario is definitely nice to look at. However, one area where the game falls flat for me, ironically, is when you flip from 2D to 3D. Admittedly, there are sections of the game where this is used well, however, for the most part, when swapping back and forth between the two, you tend to lose a lot of the detail from the 2D planes that make the world interesting. Paired with the visuals, the in-game music is as well done as it has always been. Nothing memorable here, but there are callbacks to older titles in the Mario franchise, and like the Thousand Year Door, I don't find myself humming any of these tunes outside of the game. Sound effects play a key role in a game's presentation, and Super Paper Mario uses sound effects effectively, but that's kind of about it. Although, what more should I expect when the sound of Mario hitting a block has been well established by this point? Super Paper Mario breaks the Mario RPG formula that has been so defined up to this point. No longer do we have a turn-based combat system. Instead, we merge the genres of traditional RPGs and platforming, making what is essentially a Mario action RPG. You attack enemies in real time, dealing damage based on your level and attack power, which is increased by defeating those enemies and gaining XP. You can also use items, as you did in previous entries, that will attack all enemies on the screen or prompt you to interact with an enemy that you want to target specifically. If your HP reaches 0, then you restart at the last save point. However, the game never really gets that difficult that you have to worry about it. While the larger portion of Super Paper Mario is played in 2D, Mario gains the flip ability early on, which allows him to go back and forth between 2D and 3D planes. This opens up the world and reveals that a row of 5 coins in 2D may in fact be 15 coins in 3D. There are plenty of secrets you can discover this way, and a good rule of thumb here is that if you get stuck and you can't figure out where to go, flip into 3D and you'll usually find your way. The downside to this ability is that Mario is the only character who can use it, which is fine, it's just something to note. Speaking of characters, Super Paper Mario has you play as the 4 Heroes of Light: Mario, Luigi, Peach, and believe it or not, Bowser. Each one has specific abilities that come in handy during different sections of the game. Mario, as I mentioned, has the ability to flip between 2D and 3D. Princess Peach can float across long distances using her parasol, and she can even defend herself by using it as a shield. Bowser attacks enemies by using his famous fire breath, which deals double the damage of everyone else. And Luigi has a super jump that is useful to reach extremely high platforms. This also deals double damage should you land on an enemy after using the super jump. Next up, let's talk about the pixels. In Super Paper Mario, pixels take the place of partners from earlier Paper Mario games, and grant Mario and his friends more powers. In total, there are 13 pixels, with 4 of them being optional. One pixel, Tippy, who allows the player to point the Wiimote at the screen to find secrets, is always active, so you can have 2 pixels at once. Some pixels grant the power of bombs, faster movement, and immunity to spikes or spiked enemies. There are a ton of different options here. Let me start this section off by admitting that when I originally played this game back in 2007, I was not a fan of the direction Nintendo decided to take the Paper Mario series. At the time, I played through half the game and never came back. So honestly, this was like playing a brand new game for me. Count Bleck, the game's main villain, starts the game off with a bang by kidnapping Luigi, Bowser, and Princess Peach. Peach and Bowser are forced into marriage on Bleck's orders by his ally Anastasia with her psychic powers. The Dark Prognosticus foretold of a coming of the Chaos Heart, which appears after the wedding. Count Bleck plans to use this heart to create the Void, which is really nothing more than a giant black hole, and it will continue to grow and destroy the world as everyone knows it. Tippy, our first pixel that we encounter, transports Mario to Flipside, a world between worlds. Here, Merlin informs Mario of the Light Prognosticus, a prophecy written to counter the Dark Prognosticus, and that he fits the description of one of the 4 Heroes of Light. According to the Light Prognosticus, a hero will collect 8 pure hearts which together contain the power to expel the Chaos Heart and save the world. Since Mario can't turn down an opportunity to save humanity, we set off in search of the pure hearts in order to put a stop to the Count's plan. Throughout the game, we encounter Bleck's minions O-Chunks, Mimi, and Dimentio. If you've ever seen the Mr. L memes all over the internet, this is where he comes from. What we can only assume is a brainwashed Luigi fights alongside Count Bleck as one of his underlings throughout different chapters in the game. Once everyone in the gang is able to escape the clutches of Count Bleck and his minions, they are united with Mario in order to set off on a hunt for the pure hearts. Throughout the game, we are given small chunks of what appears to be a flashback of a Romeo and Juliet style love story between Timpani and Blumiere, who we don't know yet. As you play further into the game, more of the flashback is revealed and we learn that Timpani has been exiled to an interdimensional realm to live out the remainder of her life without her love, Blumiere. Slowly it is revealed, although it's fairly obvious from the beginning, Tippy is Timpani and Count Bleck is Blumiere. Driven insane by the loss of his true love, Bleck enacted the Dark Prognosticus to make the world suffer just as he did when Timpani was banished. Through playing the game, Tippy and Count Bleck slowly begin to discover the other's true identity. Just as Bleck begins to regret what has happened and what he's doing, he realizes he cannot stop his plan now. He is too far in. Once all 8 pure hearts have been gathered, it's time to head to Castle Bleck. Once there, the team must take out O-Chunks one more time along with the shapeshifter Mimi. After all is said and done, the crew is short Peach and Bowser. Mario continues on with Luigi and Tippy, but Dimentio interjects and must be confronted. It is then revealed that Dimentio intends to betray Count Bleck and that throughout the entire game, he has been secretly helping the gang on their travels. After refusing to join forces with him, Luigi enters into the fight with Dimentio, who appears to destroy himself along with Luigi at the end of the fight. Mario and Tippy are forced to continue alone. The pair approach Count Bleck, who is shrouded with the power of the Chaos Heart. Eventually, the 3 lost Heroes of Light return, using the Pure Hearts to clear out Bleck's Chaos Heart veil and to put an end to him. However, this action doesn't stop the Void from continuing its destructive path. Soon, Dimentio appears and takes the Chaos Heart into his own control, wishing to create a new universe. Activating the Fluoro Sprout on Luigi's head, Dimentio brainwashes him back into Mr. L, fusing with the Chaos Heart and Mr. L to become an unstoppable force of terror, shattering the Pure Hearts. O-Chunks and Mimi bring Tippy and Bleck together and their renewed hope and love restore the Pure Hearts. Mario is finally able to put an end to Dimentio. However, a piece of him remains that is still in control of the Chaos Heart, ensuring total destruction of all worlds. Bleck then gathers everyone at the altar where their renewed love between Blumiere and Timpani summon back the Pure Hearts, destroying the Chaos Heart and sealing the Void. Afterward, the gang wake up back in Flipside without Timpani or Blumiere, who Merlin assumes died when everything went down. Nastasia, on the other hand, believes that they are still alive, somewhere, and a post-credit photo seems to validate her argument. Let me be honest, I started this game with dread of having to suffer my way through the Paper Mario game where Nintendo decided to ruin the series. And I finished the game realizing that the series isn't ruined, and that this game is not nearly as terrible as I had once believed it to be. It's not my favorite Paper Mario game, but it's also a good Paper Mario game. I didn't find myself wandering around for countless hours like I did in the Thousand Year Door. Instead, I basically mainlined the whole game, but I still enjoyed my time with it. There are some parts where it begins to overstay its welcome with long conversations and texts that seem to drag on way too long. At the time when I first played this, I was so used to how it had been with the original and the GameCube sequel that I was expecting more of the same and got something entirely different. Since Super Paper Mario was originally planned as a GameCube game, the small amounts of motion controls do feel a bit tacked on and are pretty clunky at times. Luckily, this isn't used all that much. I would absolutely say that if you haven't played this game in recent years, maybe go back and give it another shot. It may not be as bad as you remember. The story is actually pretty solid, with some good humor thrown in, just like in the previous entries. Although I do completely get it if you aren't interested in the combat style of Super Paper Mario versus that of the original or even the Thousand Year Door. I know it's all a matter of personal preference. And that's it. That's how I feel about Super Paper Mario after replaying it after all of these years. If you have any comments or stories about Super Paper Mario, throw those down there in that comment section, and I will talk to you all next time. Take care, everyone.